Um, okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to, I guess, the second episode of my conversation with the artist, and this time I have with me, um, Aabidah. Is that right?
Close enough, don't worry.
Okay, so I'll let you say your own name.
Hello, my name is Aabidah Shah. I'm a Pakistani photographer and I'm 24 years old. I'm a 2020 graduate from University of Wolverhampton.
Okay, so first question, let's get straight into it, I guess. Firstly, who are you and what are you doing right now? As in, like, where you came from.
Okay, so for me, it's a bit different because I was born in New York, Long Island, and I moved to England when I was a baby. And my ethnicity is Pakistani.
Yeah, so what are you doing right now then, as in career-wise?
I'm
What?
currently an artist in residence at the University of Wolverhampton, courtesy of the Artist Benevolent Fund. So I have like a year of access to the university and the facilities, as well as a £10,000 bursary.
So before we carry on, I wanted to say this at first, but I forgot. Just want to say that like I'm so proud of you for like doing that and like
Oh.
for getting all of that, because like it's it's like you said when I won that £1,000 thing,
Hmm.
um it's because like it's someone that I know, you know,
Hmm.
and like
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
yeah, and like being at uni, I was like I was trying to do good, but some of us misunderstood that and it's pushed me aside. So it's good that one of the people that I know got something good. Yeah. My next question: how were you brought up in like in your childhood, sort of sense? Like,
Oh, do we
were
go
were
deep?
were there? That's up to you. But in a
Because,
sense
bro, you
of
know my childhood. You know my.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, everyone kind of knows that. If anyone knows my work, they know that anyway. Um, might need a trigger warning if we're gonna get into that kind of thing. So let's start from the very beginning then, I guess. Obviously, I've grown up originally in a single parent household.
mm,
Most of my life. Obviously, mum did get remarried, and I had, two siblings and a few siblings with my dad as well. But as I got a little bit older, I started to get abused by a close family member,
mm,
and that kind of like fully messed me up, like physically, mentally, spiritually, everything. And a lot of my work does actually focus on the stigma that's around sexual abuse and
yeah,
mental health in like the South Asian community because it's a very common thing,
it
but
is.
it's not talked about enough, and which is why people suffer so much.
Yeah,
And because of what I've kind of been through with it, is why I am so like strong-willed and so much like I want to advocate for other people.
yeah,
I want to see the kind of work, or I want to hear from people that I would have liked to have heard from when I was a child and when I was going through my own stuff.
yeah,
And obviously that's kind of impacted a lot of me, how I am as a person. But yeah, so obviously that was going on for like a few years, and I finally spoke up like 10 years ago.
that's
And it took, yeah.
that's good that you did that.
And
Like,
thank you very much. But yeah, literally just in March it hit 10 years of me doing that. So that was like a very significant like time for me. So obviously, with everything that I kind of went through as a child, it has like affected me like majorly, like mentally.
mm,
And so those kind of topics are very like kind of significant in my work.
mm,
But obviously, being a Pakistani and going into like the creative industry, it's not the norm. So I had to kind of go through a lot to get to where I am. Like, so obviously the most like common thing in like my culture is like like pharmacy, medicine, that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah,
And obviously I've gone into a completely opposite direction with the creative route, and it has been a bit tough. Like I feel like I have to kind of maybe work harder to kind of prove myself, to show that it wasn't a mistake or like a make, I've got to show and prove myself that it was like the right path for me to follow. And
mm,
alhamdulillah, I think I've proved that now.
yeah,
I obviously I did photography in college, and then I did photography at university, and then now I'm postgraduate. I'm in a position where I'm able to continue developing my practice. as well as like the freelance business side of things. Although COVID has kind of gotten in the way of that quite a bit,
Yeah, it
but
did.
I've still got things in the future coming. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just feel
that's
like I've got a lot to prove. Even though I've done a lot already, I still feel like there's so much more I need to prove. And it's like, but I'm like at the point now, it's like, who do I really need to prove anything to? Literally just myself. Like, I know my mum's proud of me, and I know like my family are as well. And it's just still different, and it's still like an adjustment kind of period.
mm-hmm.
But I feel like now that I've kind of broke that kind of stereotype within the family, maybe like the next person in the family that wants to go through that route won't necessarily have to deal with it as hard as I've had to. So I think that could be quite positive.
Yeah, I definitely feel like
Um,
I'm in the same position as you right now.
hmm Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Because I feel like with ethnic backgrounds, it's just a lot different than like like other people that are not ethnic. So yeah.
Yeah, so linking this back to what you said about how you were abused by a family member. Um, I don't think I ever talked to you about this subject. I was in Thailand and there was this guy that works with my uncle who turns out to be my cousin on my uncle's wife's side. And like I was
Mhm.
young, I was like 9, 10 years old maybe. And like he was just trying to touch me up. Like and he was
Oh my
just trying
God.
to like ask me to do things that I was not supposed to when I was young. So
Hmm.
yes, the when you're doing all that like awareness things is not only impacting um others, as in like people that I don't know, but it's also like
Hmm.
impacting me and like it's letting me
Hmm.
like open it up to others.
Oh, Chad, I'm about to cry. I'm literally
Don't.
tearing up right now. Oh my God, Chad, I didn't know. Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
bless you.
don't yeah, I don't talk about this sort of stuff a lot. So
Hmm
yeah,
Well, I'm sorry you went through that. No child
it's
should
okay.
ever kind of experience that kind of thing. I mean, no one really should in general anyway without
No,
consent.
no.
But as a child, it's different, and
Yeah, it affects you
yeah.
mentally.
Of course, of
Um,
course.
okay, so the next question is, what drawn you into the creative industry? How do you get into it?
So, with photography, I kind of have more control of that kind of creativeness. I have the full choice to create whatever pictures. I can create the video content if I want to. I can create like whatever prints I want to do, whatever. So, having full control over something is probably what has kind of helped me go towards it, I guess, because throughout my life I've never had much control over things, whether it's things like throughout my childhood or anything like that. So I feel like photography has been like the first thing I've had full control over. It's what I want to do, no one else has a say on it or anything.
I mean, before that, I'd always been into like kind of movie making and like scrapbooks and photo albums and stuff.
Yeah,
But even before I got into photography at college, I went to sixth one first. I did physics, chemistry, biology, and geology. Um, and I was good at it. It just wasn't like my passion. Like I got distinctions for it in like school, so that was like the direction that I was kind of following.
that's good.
Um, and then it got to the point where I was like, Mom, like I'm not happy. Like I'm good at it, but I'm not like super happy doing this.
Yeah,
And then I kind of like convinced her that like I was just talking about photography a lot with her, and, the creative side of things and why I want to kind of do it. And then she kind of said to me, like, okay, let's say when you're done this year, pass properly, and then if you find a course and a place for yourself on it, then you can do it. Because basically, I was kind of intentionally like doing bad, so I could just kind of like show like, oh, Mom, I'm so bad at this, I don't want to do it, la la la. So then I had to get my grades back up. Um, to be able to follow through with photography. And then that's when I went to my college, and it was great.
So do you have any other paths before being in this career path that you're in right now, being a photographer?
I don't know, like I haven't really like allowed myself to look at other like directions really besides like teaching, because it was kind of like said to me that yes, I can do photography as a degree as long as I get a teaching qualification as well. You know, because of the fact that, you know, photography isn't always like consistent, and obviously you need that kind of income of like the consistent income, which I totally understand as well. And teaching is something I'm very interested in as well, so it's not really like an issue. The only time it becomes an issue is when it gets said to me, don't forget your teaching, don't forget the teaching. Like, guys, like, give me some time. I've got this year to just focus on my practice. I don't want to think about teaching right now.
It's like that sense when you're like, let's say, washing dishes, whatever, right? It's like when you want to go do it, you want to do it, right? And then if you're being told to do it, it's like you have
then you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Like obviously I understand like the sentiment behind it and everything, but I'd really like it if I could just have some time to just, you know, do me and not have like the input that I didn't ask for. You know,
because you yourself know that you are working towards that goal, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing it in my own time. I'm doing it in my own space. Like right now, I'm really lucky to be in the position that I am with the fellowship. Because obviously, like postgraduate as an artist can be hard enough as it is, and then with the pandemic on top of it, it's tough. And obviously, with this, I'm in an opportunity to be able to continue my practice and develop it, have that financial support as well, and access to all these facilities. I'm in a very lucky position compared to others, and I want to make the most of it. I don't want it to like be in like, I don't want to slack or anything. Like I want to make the most of everything. I want to take advantage of all the opportunities I have. So I just want to kind of put my heart and soul into it. Obviously, I've got like other side projects and things like that. But you know, the fellowship is like my main focus right now. So
that's good. But yeah, I know you talk about how the abuse stuff that happened in your childhood impacted the work that you're doing now, and like how you're raising awareness. In a question, it says what profession are you doing? If you're not said, but obviously you said that you are a photographer. So I want to get into asking you, just for the purpose of this video, right? What sort of work are you doing exactly? Like portraiture, things like that, you know?
Okay, for me, there's two different aspects of my photography. Like I have like the freelance like commission work that I do. That's like with my, you know, like my freelance business, and that's more like family portraits, young children, cake smashes, and like events and that kind of thing. But then when it comes to like my practice side of things, it's more of more focus on diversity, inclusivity, and kind of celebrating that kind of stuff. So I do portraits, and then I also do like, I have like text alongside my work as well, because with the kind of stuff that I do, portrait alone isn't enough. It needs to kind of have that text with it. Like with the Me Too project I had portraits, and then I also had people's stories alongside it. And then with my upcoming project, which I haven't actually spoken about much, so you got a little bit of an exclusive here. I'm doing a project on highlighting the stigma of mental health in the South Asian community, and I'm going to obviously have portraits with it, but the text needs to be alongside it with the case studies and then signposting as well, because I've seen a lot of work when it comes to kind of trying to raise awareness, but there's no like follow up and follow through with that. You know, there's not always links to resources and stuff like that. So what I kind of want to do, I want to have it like the work that I'm going to be creating proactively kind of actually like impacting the people. Like, you know, first of all, growing up, I'd never really seen like a project like that's been based on the South Asian community. You know, I've never seen someone that looks like me in any kind of artistic work.
Same for me.
Exactly, like, you know, being ethnic and stuff, it's just, you know, the world isn't made for us, so we don't get to see that enough. So I kind of want it to be like like let's say, you know, like a young kid or a young teen or whatever, is kind of seeing the work of their first point of view is going to be, oh, that person kind of looks like me, I'm interested. And then they'll read the case studies, and then it'll be like, oh, okay, that sounds like something I'm going through. And then they'll want to continue kind of reading, and then it'll go to like the signposting. So then it's more actively helping people rather than just something to look at or just something to read.
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So from what you're saying, like I can relate to that as well, like so much, because ever since lockdown, like I just realized that like I want to show myself as myself and not adapt to what others want me to be, because that's what it's been feeling like ever since I moved here to the UK, and that is what I said in the Boston art project that I applied for, is that like I want to showcase myself like to others, and
I get you.
to show that like I'm actually unique, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's what you're like trying to get to, and hopefully what we are doing now, what we're both doing, in our own way, hopefully it will raise awareness to at least like, you know, local Birmingham area, and then hopefully it will just explode everywhere.
Yeah, hopefully.
Imagine.
Hopefully. Yeah. Oh my God, literally, like even just helping one person is great, yeah. But if I could help multiple people, it'd be amazing. Like so far I've had quite a few people kind of reach out to me after hearing my story, that they've been able to kind of speak up about their own story, or they've at least been able to kind of acknowledge that something has happened to them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's been quite like positive. Like I'm glad that I'm physically being able to kind of see that what I am doing already is helping people, and that's what I want to continue doing, and I want to push for that a lot, because you know, I don't want anyone to think that they're alone, or I don't want anyone to think that they can't speak up about certain things, because especially in our community, in the South Asian community as well, like when it comes to like sex, it's all we have been ever taught about is that it's just bad, like completely just bad, that's it. Not necessarily been taught about consent and stuff like that. So it's like when something is happening, like I had a talk with someone, and they were kind of saying how for them they'd just been taught that sex was bad. So with what was happening to them, it was just you know, I can't tell anyone, like I'm being naughty, like what am I doing, like, because they hadn't been taught about the consent part of it. And if they'd known about consent, they'd know that the situation that they're in is wrong, in the sense of it shouldn't be happening to me. Not that I shouldn't be a part of it. I shouldn't tell anyone that it's been happening, if that makes sense. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So I feel like we just need a lot more education and stuff.
We do.
Yeah.
Do you think that what we're doing now will, obviously the subject matter that you're doing, like, can affect the larger audience, you know, but do you think that sometimes when we showcase work and stuff, it only goes to other artists and not out, like society?
I think I get what you mean. Like for me with my work, I've been quite lucky that it doesn't just hit artists, it does hit like an audience. But that's mainly through like because of my TikTok. And that's why, you know, I have other people reaching out about projects, and the fact that they like certain projects and they're not artists, they've just seen the work. But I do understand how that can feel, because before my work was getting any notice on like other social media platforms other than Instagram, it did feel like that, like only other artists were seeing my work, which is great as well, because, you know, I want to connect with so many artists. And like lockdown, I connected with so many different artists I would never thought I would have, you know, connected with, you know, with the online exhibitions and the online catalogs and stuff like that. I've been talking to a lot more people. But as my connections have been growing, my audience a little bit has been growing as well. Obviously I'm still like a quite small account, but compared to where I was like a year ago, you know, I have like active people that, you know, actively come forward about my work, that they like it. You know, if there's anything that they can be a part of, they would love to be a part of, and, you know, that kind of thing, which I really I'm really appreciative of. But yeah, did I answer the question right?
Yeah, you definitely have.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it is important for like artists to be able to spread out to more than just other artists, because, you know, like certain things that we do it's just more than art itself. Okay, so next question. What was your experience in uni/school?
In what sense? Like socially, academically, or like what? Because we can have different conversations on different topics.
I guess mention a little bit on experience with the people, and then academically.
Like I'm quite lucky to have like a solid group of friends that we've kind of stayed in touch and everything since finishing university. And it did kind of make me realize though that, you know, a lot of people that you can kind of speak to, you're only really speaking to because you're with them every day, you know. And I've learned that through like college and school as well. You know, not everyone's like a forever friend. Like some
Yeah,
people, you know, are just
yeah,
temporary, and that's fine. You know, not everyone is supposed to be in your life forever. And I think when I was younger, I used to kind of find that a bit hard. Now that I'm done with uni, it's not that deep to me. Like I've got my handful of friends who I know I'm going to be friends with for a
yeah.
long while.
You
You know, hopefully a lifetime even. So obviously I've got you, I've got Georgia, I've got Matt, I've got Caleb, and I've got Luke. And although obviously Caleb, you know, didn't do the course
yeah,
throughout with us, he's still been a friend throughout this time, and he's still my friend.
yeah.
So regardless of the fact that we weren't doing the same course anymore, it didn't affect the fact that we
No,
remained friends.
no.
And you know, that just shows it's a solid friendship. So
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like, and obviously, especially I feel like with me and Caleb, like, I feel like we've been connecting more and more ever since we started playing Among Us.
yeah,
Because like
definitely. I
when
feel like all of us as like a whole as well, we were just connecting a lot more. And then
yeah,
obviously, you know, I've got another friend of mine from my accommodation who is in the group chat as well,
hmm,
and they've been getting along with all of us, and you
yeah,
know, we've got a new friend in the squad.
yeah,
So I think that's quite cool. Because obviously for me, my university experience wasn't just in class. You know, I lived out for uni just like you as well. You lived out for uni.
yeah,
So we've got that whole other social aspect of university as well. So yeah, it's interesting.
yeah, it's good. So I think all around, like I feel like our uni experience with people and like the learning side, it's been positive, you know?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
Especially with like the tutors, like with well, majority of the tutors that we've had.
yeah,
You know, I've had a lot of positive experiences with people, like especially with like Euripides and Gavin and Matt, like them
yeah,
three. They've been quite consistent, and their support and their kind of understanding is just really great. Like even when it's been like personal stuff, like maybe if I've had like a little bit of time off because of, you know,
yeah,
something at home, or you know, like a death in the family or something, you know, they've always been quite understanding and supportive.
yeah,
And it's just because I'm communicating with them. Like obviously if I were just to go off for like a couple of weeks and not say nothing, then obviously it's going to be an issue.
hmm,
But as long as like I've been able to kind of communicate, they're able to understand and they're able to kind of be lenient with certain things, which I think is really great. And I think if I didn't have that kind of support, uni wouldn't have necessarily been that good, because with studying, it's not just about what you're doing; it's about the teachers as well. And if you don't have support, like supporting staff, then it can negatively impact your time at university.
yeah,
So yeah.
definitely. Yeah, there's obviously, you know, bad times and stuff, but like the good times outweighs the bad, I feel like.
Exactly, like for real.
Yeah.
You know, I miss it sometimes though.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah.
I still miss the independence and not having to think about bills and stuff when not at uni. So
Yeah, I get, yeah. I do miss the independence aspect of things just because, like, not that I don't have independence now, obviously I do,
mm,
but I'm not, I can't just think about myself now. Obviously, I'm at home, you know, I'm looking after mum, I've got my
yeah,
siblings, you know, I'm running the house, whatever. So it's like, you know, I've got to think about everyone, which is fine. It's just, you know, sometimes some days are obviously harder than others, and sometimes I do wish, oh, I just wish I was back at my accommodation. I wish I could just like dip for a day, or you know, but obviously I'm not in a position to do that now, and
mm,
yeah, so
yeah. As as simply put it, as life goes on, more responsibility is gonna just pour in your face.
yeah, I get you. I think to be fair for me, when I was at uni, when I was like living away for uni, I had a little bit of a break responsibility wise, because I've been a young carer. I was a young carer since I was about like 11 or 12. Um, so I've always been doing a lot anyway.
Mm,
But then obviously while I was away for a couple of years, I did have like less responsibility. Like obviously I'd go back, you know, every other week or every week sometimes as well, and I would do whatever I can do when I'm at home.
mm,
Um, but it was like a nice little breakaway, I guess.
yeah,
Um, you know, but now being here like full time again, there's a lot to do, and it can be a little bit draining.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, it's my family, and I'll do whatever I need to for my family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
To be honest, like that's how I felt in the past few months since my stepfather passed away. I was lucky that like before I went to uni, I didn't have like a lot of responsibilities. But then after I left uni, like I think it was like a month or two after I got my grades back and after I knew that I passed, everything is just literally hit me so hard. There's just so much going on. Okay, so next question is I need to find a better way of like linking these questions together, like transitioning into a different question, you know? That's what I've been thinking about ever since I did the first one. Okay, so the next question is like, what do you think the importance of the creative sector as it ties into like the government or like society, like overall?
I think people underestimate the creative sector because there's so much that is in it.
I agree.
You have television, you have movies, you have YouTube, you have songs, you have music, you have albums, you have like paintings, you have all sorts of art. There's so many different things. Like I remember there was something going on about people were saying that you should scrap the art stuff that you're doing and get a different job or whatever, but these people wouldn't cope if they didn't have their favorite TV show. But that's an art in itself. That is in the creative sector. Like, there's just so much that people don't think about. Like, if you were gonna have like a logo for your business, you'd need a graphic designer for that.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be able to do that yourself? Not necessarily.
Well, if there weren't any art industry or art sector, you wouldn't have Disney, right?
Yeah,
you wouldn't have artists to draw
the world
your
would be
favorite
very
drawings.
plain. The world would be very plain. Without art, you wouldn't have your family photographs.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have posters to promote businesses. Particular businesses wouldn't even be a thing. Like people, it's just weird how people can have like a negative like look at the creative industry when it's part of everyday life. Like you honestly cannot go through a day without consuming some sort of art or some sort of creativeness. Like even just right now in front of me, I've got like these like flowers in front of me.
Yeah.
But without like a florist, that wouldn't be like needed. That wouldn't be like a thing or whatever. I don't know if flowers is like the right kind of concept of what I'm saying. But like, look, I've got this wallpaper design. It's not plain. It's got like a proper design on it.
Yeah.
And obviously, someone has actively gone out to create that.
Yeah.
So I think it's very like it's a very bad thought to kind of think that people in the creative industry need to switch it up and do something else.
Yeah.
Because those same people saying that will be very unhappy in their lives without people from the creative industry.
That's well said. People don't appreciate the smallest thing. Like they when they see a painting on the wall or like a design on the wallpaper, they don't think that there's someone standing behind that and doing something to get.
Exactly. Like, listen, I go Specsavers quite often now because of my eyes and stuff. There is photographs everywhere, and it's like, let's say we got rid of the photography aspect of art and the creative industry. There would be no photos to show the glasses. There would be no photos to kind of show the product that someone is selling. There'd be no photos that you can have as memories that you can treasure for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And that's just by removing one aspect of the creative industry, Yeah. And of all that photos, I think I'd cry,
Let's say, like, if you take a selfie, for example, that's a selfie, right? Anyone can do that, but if you wanted to take a family portrait with a professional photographer, it's like it has a different value, because not only the photographer themselves put effort into creating this family portrait for you, but you yourself also put effort into it to make it like memorable.
Yes, definitely.
But a selfie is just like, yeah, you get together, snap, move on. You never see that picture ever again, you know.
Mhm.
Okay, next question. What advice would you give to your younger self if you knew that you were going to be in this position?
I would say stop worrying so much about what other people are saying and what other people are thinking. Like you're gonna get there, like eventually. So just relax and stress less because obviously I've stressed a lot in these past few years just because of the worry and panic of it not being worth it in the end and stuff. Like so if I
Yeah,
was able to kind of tell younger me that I don't need to have that much stress, life would have been a lot easier.
yeah. You, I feel like you and what Matt said are kind of similar. So to basically put it, just take it easy, I guess.
There's this one thing that I wrote for one of the university case studies things, and it was something along the lines of, you know what? Let me find it actually. Hold up. I don't want to
Okay.
say it wrong. Hold on. Also, one thing, right? I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you ever did this, right? But I think I'm pretty sure everyone at one point in their life has Googled their name when they were younger, yeah. And obviously, nothing interesting would really come up with your name, unless you had like someone famous with that name or whatever.
Yeah,
But now, when I search my name into Google, loads of stuff comes up,
I know,
like
right?
articles that I've been in, projects that I've done, online exhibitions, magazines, even like the University of Wolverhampton, like their articles that they've done on me, um, and just like my website and stuff. Like so much stuff comes on, and even like if I put my name into Google Images as well, a lot of pictures of myself or my
Mm,
work comes up. But before, like when I looked once or twice when I was a kid, it would just be like really odd kind of stuff, or just like translations of my name and that kind of thing. Um, so yeah, so it's really interesting. And one time I googled myself, and I was so glad I did because there was a couple of articles that I didn't even know existed.
hmm.
Like, and I was like, oh my god, like I didn't really know that they kind of picked up on that thing. Um, so yeah, I'm just trying to find the case study
Yeah,
thing.
it's
'Cause
been a
I'm sure
while
I
since I Googled myself. I'll
hmm
probably do that after this.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I think let me click on my one. You can't just wait for it. You've got to work for it, and you'll eventually get to where you need to be. But don't forget to enjoy the journey.
Yeah,
That's what I wrote.
that's good. Yeah, that's the shortest way to put it, and the like short but effective way to put it.
Exactly.
What advice would you give to others if they were to wanting to pursue the same career path as you?
If you've got the enjoyment and like the passion for it,
Mm,
just go ahead and do it. Like you've got like I think a lot of people forget that not everything has to be a business, not everything has to be a career. You are allowed to have something as a hobby. So don't be hard on yourself if you only want to do it for fun. But then don't be hard on yourself and think that you can't do it as a career because there's many people that have these careers as photographers.
yeah,
Obviously some people are bigger than others, but you still have it. There's a lot of like small photography businesses and people are doing quite well.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like you've got to kind of figure out if you want it for a career and if you want it for a hobby, because then once you've determined that, that's when you know how much energy, how much time, and how much money you put into it.
That applies to most things, you know.
Yeah.
And like obviously, some people don't know that, so they just keep pushing, 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 and it's not healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, okay, is there anything else you would like to add?
Um, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't have anything either at the moment. I guess this is the end, and thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for spending your time on this interview.
You're very welcome. Thank
So
you
yeah,
so much for asking me. I
I will
really
post
appreciate it.
I will post your social and any other things that you want me to share. I will put it on the screen. So yeah, thank you so
Yeah, that's
much.
fine. I'll send you links and stuff that you can include if you like.
Yeah.
perfect.